The man shoved a connector into the girl's mouth, then forcefully inserted a transparent tube into her stomach. At the end of the tube were 2 jars containing different liquids. One was ordinary mineral water, and the other was highly corrosive sulfuric acid. Which one to pour into the girl's mouth was left to Paul, who had lost the game. If he chose incorrectly, the girl on the floor would be instantly reduced to a pool of blood. Under the man's coercion and threats, Paul reluctantly picked the one on the left, and the man immediately turned the valve, sending a stream of clear liquid rushing into the woman's throat. Fortunately, Paul had accidentally chosen the jar with mineral water, saving the girl's life. The truth or dare game then continues. As the bottle spun again, its opening pointed at Casey, who had not spoken a word all this time. Casey thought she had played it safe by choosing truth, but she still fell into the man's verbal trap. Under Jack's threats, she had no choice but to make Paul go through the same dangerous task as before. Jack then followed procedure, inserting the connector and tube into Paul's stomach. Casey assumed the jar with mineral water was still on the same side as before, so without hesitation, she chose the left one. But Jack had already switched the positions. The next moment, as the liquid surged into Paul, he vomited blood and died on the spot. This sudden scene completely terrified everyone nearby, but at that moment, they didn't dare make a sound and could only let Jack continue spinning the bottle and playing the game. However, their noise was too loud and drew the attention of the neighbors. Seeing this, Jack quickly came out with Mark, trying to drive the neighbors away. Little did they know, while they were talking, Gemma inside the room had already picked up a saw blade from the floor and cut through the tape binding her hands. Seeing that time was running out, Gemma had no choice but to jump out of the window to escape. Meanwhile, facing the neighbor at the door who refused to leave, Jack forced Mark to raise a gun and shot him dead. He then reassured Mark not to be afraid, explaining that they were like grasshoppers on the same rope. If Mark obeyed, Jack would use his connections to keep him safe. Unexpectedly, when the two returned to the room, they found that Gemma had already freed herself and escaped. Jack immediately went out to chase her, instructing Mark to keep an eye on the 2 people left in the room. At this time, Gemma had already used the opportunity to reach the mansion's entrance. She carefully slipped back into a room, groping in the dark to find a hiding place. But in her confusion, she walked into a room that was lit. What she saw completely stunned her. Felix, the classmate who liked her, was not dead and was watching their every move through surveillance. It turned out that when Felix had previously tried to hang himself, a passing butler discovered and saved him. However, due to oxygen deprivation to his brain, he had now become a vegetative state, only able to lie in bed. And just as Gemma had yet